friends. Today's story is The Magic Kite. It's written by Kira Daniel and illustrated by Mary Ann Smith Getchell. That means she drew the pictures and the author is Kira Daniel. Looks like the author even signed this book. That's exciting. It was a breezy Monday morning. Lauren sat at her desk. She looked at her teacher. He was smiling.
"It is March," said Mr. Lee. "March is a windy month. March is a great time to fly a kite."
Lauren loved kites. She liked the way they streamed across the sky on a sunny day.
"We are going to have a kite show,"
said Mr. Lee. Everyone stopped moving. Everyone was quiet. What was a kite show? They wondered. What is a kite show? Asked Lauren.
"Let me explain,"
said Mr. Lee. He took out a bright white paper kite.
"Today, I will give each of you a plain white kite. Change your kite. Make it beautiful or funny or exciting. Show us your finished kite on Friday. We will see the best kites you can imagine. Then, I'll have a surprise for you."
Jim took out his paints. Katie took out her bright markers. Dan took out some shiny stickers. He had been saving them for something special. He kept them in his sneaker. Ew. They all started making the most wonderful kites they could imagine. All except Lauren. She sat with her head in her hands. She closed her eyes. She saw kites covered with tiger stripes. She saw kites made of butterfly wings. She saw kites that flashed like lightning. How should her kite look? She could not decide. Look at the beautiful kite she imagined. "I'm lucky it's only Monday," she said. By Tuesday, many kites were finished. Joe held his kite. He looked happy. He had used every color in his paint box. His kite looked like a rainbow. Even the tail is all different colors. "I used about 100 bows on the tail," he said.
"It's a beautiful kite,"
said Mr. Lee. "Nice kite," said Lauren. "The tail really only has 37 bows," said Katie. Jim stepped on her toe while Mr. Lee wasn't looking. Lauren thought about her kite. It was on her table at home. It was still a plain white kite. She closed her eyes. She saw kites with golden tails flying in the wind. She saw kites that glowed in the dark. She saw kites as light and fluffy as clouds. But how should her kite look? She could not decide. "I'm lucky it's only Tuesday," she said. Oh, I like this one. It looks like a tiger. On Wednesday, Katie showed her kite. It was all finished. Mr. Lee laughed at the kite when he saw it.
"What a funny kite, Katie,"
he said. Lauren looked at Katie's kite. It was a picture of Katie on it. She was flapping her arms. She was trying to fly. This kite would look funny in the air. Katie would be flying. "Very silly," said John. "I think it's great," said Lauren. "It would look better with some stickers," said Dan. I think Dan really must like stickers. Lauren's kite had not moved. It was still at her house. It was still on her table. It was still a plain white kite. She thought of kites floating in the sky. Some kites were flying as high as the moon. Some kites had bright faces on them. One kite's tail was 2 miles long. "It's already Wednesday," thought Lauren. On Thursday, Dan ran into the school with his kite. The kite was covered with shiny stickers. It was a very exciting kite. Everyone agreed. "My sneakers fit better now, too," said Dan. He showed everyone his empty sneaker. Lauren was worried. Tomorrow was Friday. She thought, "What will I do with my kite?" It's still plain white. That night, Lauren looked at her kite. She thought about all her ideas. She imagined a wonderful kite. It was Friday morning. Everyone held a kite. The room was filled with colors. "Where's your kite?" asked Katie. "In my bag," answered Lauren. "Let's see it," said John. Lauren pulled out her kite. It was plain white. Someone laughed. "That wasn't very nice. I'm surprised somebody would laugh. That sounds mean." "But there's nothing on it," said Dan. He hugged his own shiny kite. Someone else laughed. Lauren looked away. She wanted to hide. Then she felt angry. She said, "I imagined many kites, but this is the best. Sometimes I imagined it like a summer sunset, all bright pink and blue. Then it changes. Then it's made out of soap bubbles, and I can see through it. It floats up, and the bubbles pop. Then it turns into a bird kite. It has shiny red feathers. It keeps changing and changing, but it always has the same tail. A tail with it's a kite with a stardust tail. The stars reach far across the sky."
How wonderful, said Mr. Lee, a kite that changes with your imagination.
No one laughed now. They all looked hard at Lauren's kite. At first, they could see only the plain white kite. Then they began to imagine. Dan saw a kite made of snowflakes. Each snowflake was different. Each twinkled in the sun. Katie saw flowers, lots of flowers. They all saw wonderful things, bubbles, stars, birds, hearts, but all with the same long tail. "I love your kite," said Dan. "It's nice," said Katie. Lauren felt very special. After the kite show, Mr. Lee said,
"Time for my surprise."
Everyone stopped moving. Everyone was quiet.
"We are going outside to fly our kites," said Mr. Lee. "I will give you each a spool of kite string. Watch your kite. See how it looks up in the sky. Think about how it feels to fly."
Everyone went outside. Mr. Lee showed them how to fly the kites. He ran with them. He fixed their string. He cheered with them. Some kites were too heavy to fly. Some seemed to fly by themselves. Lauren's kite went high into the air. It sailed over everything. It was still a plain white kite, but everyone agreed the kite was great. It was the very best they could imagine. I hope you can imagine a wonderful kite. Maybe you'll get to fly a kite this windy March month.